Bienvenidos a Oye Dimelo Cinema Club. My name is Don Dino Spazzini, and I will be your host for today's episode. We are here with Jason Echoes. We also have Steve Des, and we have Michaela and JP. So today I picked Bad Times at the El Royale, and the reason why I picked that movie is we've been doing that. We pick a movie based on a connection of the previous movie. So either actor, director, producer, artist, production, makeup, whatever. And so last week we watched Super 8, and looking through the list of people that worked there, I landed on Martin Wist, who was the production designer. And in the list that Wist had been involved with came up Bad Times at El Royale. And it's a movie that I wanted to watch. I hadn't watched. I don't know why. It just passed by us. And so, yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale, directed and written by Drew Goddard. And it's got Jeff Bridges, Jon Hamm, Cynthia Erivo, Dakota Johnson, and on and on and on. And even, what's his face? Mustachio from Parks and Rec.
Nick Offerman.
Ron Swanson has a little cameo bit in it. So yeah, so I picked it without knowing much of the movie. Nick Offerman, other than the people that were in it. So yeah, but before I give you guys my first opinions, I will let Michaela take it away.
This is the kind of movie I love going to the movies for. Like, I really enjoyed it. It has like a really well braided together plot. There's intrigue. All the characters are really well fleshed out. Like, I had a lot of fun watching this.
Nice. And how about you, Steve Des?
First time watching this movie, and let me tell you, this movie sucked. No, I'm kidding. This movie is great. Honestly, I think when this movie came out, maybe the only thing that maybe got my attention was, the character of the poster of Chris Hemsworth. But I guess at the time, I was just like, why would I watch this movie? So I never really paid attention to it. So, but now watching it, I was like, wow, this movie is great because the the type of movies that I like to watch is movies that make me feel like it's almost like a play. And this movie made me feel like that. Like I'm watching a cinema play. And those movies typically, for the most part, do very, very well. And I really enjoy them and everything. I love how they broke down each character and everything. The elements of the movie. There were so many things about the movie that I really enjoyed. So that's my first impressions.
Nice. On that, how about you, Jason?
How about me?
Yeah, since I heard some stuff that he said that I think maybe you agree with.
Yeah. I liked the movie. It was my first time ever seeing it. It's a stellar cast, and I thought everybody performed right up to where they needed to be to make this thing jump off the page. And it does feel very much like a play. Like it feels like a piece of theater, at least for the first couple acts. Before they start having to move the camera around a whole bunch. I kept thinking, like, man, are you sure this thing wasn't written as a play first? Because there's super monologue heavy, and when they introduce all the characters, and it almost all takes place in one setting in the beginning. It's beautiful cinematography, and there's beautiful lighting in it. And the music really stands out. Like all these great soul hits from 1960s Motown, Detroit, and Ohio, and it's just flush with that kind of music, and it just fits in perfectly. And then Cynthia Erivo, or whatever her name is, I knew she could sing, but I didn't know how everybody knew she could sing. Because she was asked to perform at the Oscars and all these different places, and I didn't know a whole lot from her other than her performance in Harriet. But then, like in this thing, she just blew me away. Like the first song she sung, I was like, man, I could just listen to her sing like all night. And then luckily, she sings throughout the whole movie. So really, really great performance all the way around from everybody. I enjoyed this thing, man. There's a lot to contemplate. You know, in a perspective film like this, where it's like every character's perspective is important to the story.
Mhm.
So yeah, I liked it, and I can't wait to talk to your faces about it.
Nice. Uh, JP, how about you?
This drink is see-through, visible.
Oh,
The movie.
we don't have money to put that logo on our show, man.
Oh man, thank goodness it self-censored itself. Um, it was like it was a very it is very much I got a lot of Tarantino Jr. vibes from the movie, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Because for me, like, there was moments in the film where I wish it went kind of further, but it didn't have to be that type of movie. But I don't know. For me, like, the movie was more like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's anything to write home about, but like, yeah, the cast was great. I really like the cast. Thank goodness for Cynthia and Jeff because I think them two. It's great that the movie starts with them and it also ends with them as well. Spoiler alert, because like I think they're the only like really good, yeah, the good relationship and the good story out of the whole ensemble. Because there was characters in this film where it's like I was either glad that they got off really quick or it's like, I mean, you're not bad, but I'm totally not invested. So yeah, for me, the movie was very much. I'm already gonna give it probably like my final thought, like a really good C+.
Damn. Hold on to that C plus, JP. Because if there's anything we've learned from Cinema Club is that sometimes those C plus turns into A minuses.
True,
Because
true.
that's happened to me when I'm talking about movies. All right. So my first impression, I agree with a lot of the things, kind of like the play. I also felt, yeah, just thinking about the poster, you could tell like we're gonna sell this movie from Chris Hemsworth's 6 pack or 8 pack or 12 pack, whatever he's got going on down there. But I think it would have been maybe nicer if he was kept out of it. Like that would have been a big surprise or a big reveal if they focused more on the other characters, just like poster wise. But anyway, but when you try to sell a movie, maybe that's why it came and went because they tried selling it with Chris and all that, whereas he doesn't come in until the third act, basically. I really enjoyed it. I also got Tarantino vibes. I got Inglorious Bastards vibe, especially they spent so much time in that lobby. Oh, Hateful Eight.
Cowboys.
Hateful Eight vibes because they spend so much time in the lobby, and a lot of it revolves there. And maybe they go out for a little bit, but it comes back, and you have a little bit of flashbacks, which is very Tarantino, and also going and seeing one person's perspective. And so I almost thought like someone watched Hateful Eight and was like, oh, this is really cool. What if I do this, but I bring it up to a little more modern times, and you know,
I think
so
this director and writer tends to do a lot is like he finds certain kinds of films in like specific genres and then he riffs on them in their own way, you know, because like the way that they play with color is like so big and bold it's almost ridiculous, and like a lot of the characters really are like, you know, like because this is also the same guy who did Cabin in the Woods. So I feel like the like even the way that the script itself feels like it's written out is very like I have to agree. Like it's definitely like what a Tarantino movie would be like, you know?
yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
think that's definitely intentional.
Definitely. And I mean, yeah, and he also wrote World War Z and some big budget stuff like that. I enjoyed I enjoyed the vibe a lot of this, like the scenery and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I want to go into next, and I want to kind of hear your guys' thoughts of the hotel, the line, the Nevada, California, kind of like what made you, what did that make you feel when you kind of saw that, and the decor used, especially in that lobby, right, and even some of the rooms being different color palettes, as long as well as the costumes, contrasting. Anyone have any thoughts or opinions about that?
It's definitely makes me want to kind of rewatch it because like a thought kind of occurred to me is I wonder if like most of the people who die, if they die on the Nevada side, because like of the whole like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas sort of thing.
Yeah,
Because give like the Vegas side like darker colors and more like intimidating shadows, whereas like they keep emphasizing that California is sunny.
Was anyone on the California side?
No.
I don't think anybody was.
because it was $1 more expensive for
It was $1 more.
Yeah.
Which
well, like I'm talking about like the Chris Hemsworth scene.
Because he's Californian.
Yes.
Right.
So.
Okay. That's what.
behind you. So behind Michaela is Nevada, because I think those are spots, right? And behind JP is California. I feel towards the end. Oh no, he puts them around the poker table or the craps table.
That's
so
right.
They are in the Nevada side. I think you're right. I think the majority of the deaths might come from the Nevada side. I don't know what side outside the. Sorry, there's a helicopter. Well, luckily, it's not a police one.
I think the only death that really happens like on the line is Miles.
You said it's Miles? Oh yes, because he's wow, yeah, good point. And he was kind of redeeming himself and kind of, even didn't want to kill anymore, and then at the end wanted to, wanted his the
the Eucharist. And I also want to point out that Jeff Bridges was on the California side when he did that for Miles. So.
Okay. Well, that's cool that you caught that because I didn't like at all.
I did think about it at one point because they were talking about the good and the bad, and they always made an emphasis. I don't know if you guys noticed with the camera of the characters when they would cross over, they would make a big step. Like the majority of the people would not step on the actual line; they would cross over. It was like Chris and some other people would like walk on the line and stuff like that. And I think Rosie, purposely were just walking on the actual line.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts on for the decor?
Yeah, the decor was interesting to me because I kind of forgot about this movie, to be perfectly honest. I didn't really remember the trailer. But even if I didn't, I would have assumed that this movie was going to be pretty dark because even the California side had like a dark texture to it. The Nevada side was like purple and had a dark texture, and all the rooms were kind of like dark. Like it was a dark film. So and it felt very because I mean it's on the Nevada California line. It just felt like very Twilight Zone-y, like something weird about to happen. Like they just walked into a portal or something when they came in here, and like something's going to be different. Like I thought maybe it could even been a horror movie or something. I mean, I guess it sort of was too, though a little bit. Yeah, and all of that is indicative by the decor. You pick up on that right away that something's not quite right here.
Well, and I think that they do such a good job of like making the setting itself almost a character in of itself. Like you can't say that like if it wasn't for the way this hotel was set up, the story would happen.
Absolutely.
Like I think they do such a good job making sure that this thing, like you said, it is the Twilight Zone. That's the rules they're playing by, and it has its own rules and it has its own temperaments almost.
Is our mic muted?
Yeah, he muted us. The car.
Oh, the car's gone.
No, you're not muted now.
Oh, I was closing the window. Yeah, so I was gonna say, but you had muted me. I was gonna be, what is this? A pervert hotel? Which
That was a good
I
one.
also love that people kept repeating certain words. I had even pointed out Jon Hamm. Oh, what was the word? Is that a French word that he was saying? He kept repeating that. Ah, shit.
When he's
Uh,
doing his vacuum persona, right?
yeah, yeah, he was a vacuum cleaner, and he kept saying a word over and over.
I don't remember.
And I was just like, just see. I mean, his character alone, he sets the stage, right? And maybe that's why it felt like a play at the beginning. Because for like the first 5 minutes, I feel like he's the only one that's really talking. He's got these long ass monologues, right?
Yeah.
So, and I do agree. The trailer had it as a kind of like a thriller mystery type thing because they had some shots of them finding the corridor hallway and the kind of the mirrors see through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. So
Really, really glad it didn't turn out to be that way because I'm not gonna lie, his character, his vacuum persona character was such a turnoff for me that I was kind of dreading the first few minutes. I was like, oh man, is this gonna be like the Orient Express but on a fucking in a hotel where like it's not that exciting. It's not a train. Like you're stuck on the rails and movement in like these fucking carriages, but this is a hotel. So I was like, oh man, they're gonna find Jon Hamm murked and like that's the movie. But thank goodness that was not, and thank goodness that they killed him first because he was one of my least favorite characters.
although if you think, I was thinking about it, right? I was gonna say you're like, thank goodness he didn't get murked, and then the movie was about that, but he did get murked first. But I will say, all the big plot points, like basically happen of people wanting to do the right thing. Jon Hamm
Yeah.
gets the direction. Do not interfere. He sees what he thinks, is a kidnapping, whatever ransom. Tries to help the lady, gets killed. The lady that had the girl kidnapped was actually older sister and was trying to get her away from a cult, and so was kind of trying to. And as soon as she kind of got free, she called the cult leader. So it was like all these people that decided to kind of do the right thing were just making the dominoes just fall and like chaos
They
ensues.
made it worse.
Because the path to hell is paved with good intentions.
And it's funny because like
What is
the
that?
worst,
Is that the Bible?
arguably the worst character in the film is probably the little girl.
Rosie?
Moral wise, I think that could be debated
Oh, yeah. But
because she's so like lost astray and so like
yeah.
so gone from the light. It's like there's no redeeming qualities. Like no, fuck her.
Well, she killed the doctor because clearly the minute I saw kind of the girl and Hemsworth and we had it was an interesting use of the television also, right? Of showing Nixon in a debate, and it was like already talking about Vietnam and trying to get that done. So it was clearly him against not Lyndon because Johnson didn't try to get another.
No, because I think after Nixon was Carter.
No. But it was Nixon with someone else. I
I
thought
think it was just a press release talking about the war in general.
Okay. I thought it was one of the debates that they were that. Who did Nixon beat? Was it Ford? Or was Ford his? But anyway, point being, they had that on TV, the politics side of it, but then they also showed the thing about a doctor and stuff like that being murdered, which again, once upon a time in Hollywood, right, following kind of Manson and those murders, and then you find out that it was Rosie that killed the doctor on the lawn, and so. I don't know where I was going with that. That she doesn't have a redeemable.
Yeah, it's very sexy Manson telling his cult to do the work for him.
Yeah,
Man, so.
like that whole thing of like, let's play a game. All right, since we're already talking about characters and we kind of know who are the worst characters, which would be your, I don't know, I don't want to say what character who would you, I guess, be in the movie, or who is your favorite character? Steve, do you have a favorite character, or who do you think you would be in that scenario?
I can tell you who I actually did not like that much. That was actually Chris Hemsworth, surprisingly enough. But the person that I liked the most, guess, identified a little bit, not quite really, but a little bit, was the dude that was the receptionist.
Miles Morales?
Miles
Miles Miller. It's Miles.
Miles Teller, the famous
Miles Miller. It's Miller time. Okay, so why do you relate with Miles?
Just because of having like a tough background and kind of dealing with a lot of PTSD moments in your life that make you go like, yo, I need to, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people, how I saw it was like, this was this play. It looked like a giant game of Clue. And then at the very end, when everybody likes a table and all this stuff, the real issue, I mean, yeah, there is the fact that they're gonna get murked. Dino's favorite word now.
JP got me on the
But
merch train.
but in reality, a lot of these people, what they're facing, and you can call it like, it's very biblical. You can call it because of Judgment Day and all that stuff. But they're trapped in their minds.
Yes, their own demons.
Yeah, their own past demons, their own past stuff. Except the little girl, she's just like, I'm this person. But everybody else is kind of like wrestling with just their past, like the things that they've been like going through, and yeah. So like him, like the two people I identified the most was with him and the I hate when I want to memorize the character's name. I'm just horrible with names. But the black lady.
The singer Cynthia is her name, but
I think
Yeah,
it's like Diana Sweet.
yeah,
Darlene.
I
Darlene,
really I really like that she didn't get killed, thank God. And second, that they made her character super strong.
Yes.
Like to the point that she was like, what is in that film? Some dude that's talking too much. Da, 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 da. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care anymore about that stuff. To me,
oh, sorry. Go on.
that scene, like, maybe for some people are watching it, they don't see the meaning behind all that. But to me, that was one of the most strongest choices they gave this character.
I agree. I love that scene and that reaction because she's not just talking about the people doing the film. She's talking about Chris Hemsworth.
She's talking specifically about Chris Hemsworth.
Right, but also the music producer. She's talking about pretty much every man in power that she's encountered throughout her life in that one little monologue. But yeah, directly to Chris. But just like she pinpointed every single man that she's encountered that has any sort of power.
Yeah, she dressed him down. I kept thinking maybe it might even be her relationship to the church, because he's kind of like doing his own sort of, religiosity type deal. Yeah. And I felt like when she was dressing him down, she's like, "Hey man, I've seen this phony preacher thing before, and you ain't it, Bucko."
Yeah.
Well, she was just talking about like I kind of agree with Dino on this, where she's not only just talking, like she's talking about men's bravados in general, Because like that's a whole like anytime you like talk about cults, like the first thing you talk about is the cult of personality, and you know,
Well, even Jon Hamm, how he was treating her, right? And if you think about, Jon Hamm is a Minuteman or whatever, FBI, right? And calling her Negro, which I guess for the time maybe was what, again, not correct, but that's what they were calling her, and just the way they were interacting with her was clearly putting
yes,
her down. Which I was like, why does she have so many freaking blankets? And it was because she's a singer and she's practicing. Like
shampoo,
all
face-
that small things you start to discover about the characters was brilliant. Jason, do you have a favorite character, or who do you see yourself?
Yeah, I don't really see myself as anyone in this movie, but man, there's so many good performances.
Mhm.
The ones that really stuck out to me were the Darlene character and the Chris Hemsworth character. They wait so long to introduce him in this thing, and I don't really feel like they let it down. I really like the way the character was written, to be honest with you. And I think Chris did a very fine job with it. I kept thinking, like, who else could they have cast in this thing? And I was like, man, maybe like in the older days, it would have obviously been like a young Brad Pitt, like for certain, because he just has to be this charismatic sort of guy who can create chaos amongst his followers. Um, so yeah, he's just got to be like, feels like he's the smartest guy in every room. He's obviously bigger and stronger than everybody else, so he can beat him up. I kept thinking back to like that tussle scene where he's like, "All right, guys, time to tussle." It's like if anybody challenged him to tussle, he would just win. You know what I mean? So it's like he gets to be the leader, and he's the one living in the big house. While everybody else was like sleeping outside. I guess I don't know, but that guy really stood out to me. I really enjoyed the character, not even so much the way he performed it, because I thought it was very serviceable and fine. No, I didn't think there was any flaw in the way he did it. I thought his accent was great. Um, but
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting written character, and I thought the Jon Hamm character was pretty interesting because he's playing two different characters. And the way he's sort of sauntering around, in the beginning, it's like, why is he walking like that? Like it's all in his body, the character that he's trying to be. But then you find out later he's trying to be the character. So those are the performances that. I mean, and obviously Jeff Bridges. I mean, they're all very, very good. So it's hard for me to pick out one. So I'm gonna just say what I just said and leave it at that.
Nice. And so you bringing up Chris Hemsworth, like who would it be? I see a younger Steve being that character, just amassing the masses.
Steve Dez?
Yeah, Steve
Oh.
Dez, like just like I feel like he's
I was gonna
he
say,
rarely
I was gonna say Shia LaBeouf, but
he rarely wears any sleeves. Like you're lucky if you see him with a shirt on at all. Like I feel like Steve would just fit in. He wouldn't even have to act. Like he's got his followers, and
I can tell you this: I can act in this particular movie. I can act better than Chris Hemsworth.
damn.
I think that this is also like a role that's not what we traditionally associate with Chris. Like he's
Yeah.
playing against type, like 100%. And that's I feel like if they chose like the traditional I'm creepy cult leader, like I look like a creepy cult leader, like it wouldn't have had the same kind of effect. Like you have to see that he is the absolute honeypot.
Yeah,
Correct.
He was channeling his inner Chris Pratt and John Cena.
Yeah. I mean, I also get yeah. I get the Brad Pitt part of it, and just with all the Bible stuff.
I could also see Tom Cruise rocking this role too.
Yeah.
Sorry, wait.
But it starts with him following. Isn't there a whole Bible stuff about following the footsteps on the beach, and like one set of footsteps is following the other?
That's not the Bible.
Is that just a poster? Maybe
it's like a parable.
A parable.
Not in the Bible, but it's definitely
I'm sure
a story.
that's a white lady self-help book cover that you just described.
Wait,
it's a Hallmark card. To be perfectly honest,
is it Bible canon though?
No, because there's like this whole like I don't think it's actually in the Bible, but there is like this whole thing in like church culture where it's like there's a story where you're walking on the beach and then you look back and you see that there are like only like one set of footprints during your hardest times, and then you look up in Jesus and say, "What the heck, man? You were here for all these good times. Where were you during the bad?" And then he's like, and then Jesus wisely looks down and says, "Well, that's when I carried you." Like that's the parable.
Plus, I was kicking it out at the pier, dude. I was having funnel cakes.
Wait, so the one set of footprints is because Jesus is carrying you?
Through the hard times.
Well, then the footprints should be deeper. Every time I see that picture, it's clearly just.
I didn't make up the story. I just had it hammered into me during my youth.
Okay. Nice. So I'll talk about the there's so many characters. I really do enjoy that Jeff Bridge. Everyone had something to hide except for really Darlene. She was the one that was just like, I'm just trying to do my dream. I'm just trying to follow this. I'm trying to. She was basically all working artists, right? I can't stay at the same place that I got my gig at, or else I'm gonna lose money. But I think it's weird. I kind of like Steve relate a little bit to the Miles character, and he's one of the characters that really turned around for me, right? Because it's like everyone had something, right? For the most part, everyone had something to hide, or it was some sort of red herring. And then you see that he's a junkie, and you're like, what is wrong with him? Then you see that he's been kind of filming all these things, and he's seen weird stuff, and you're like, but then when he talks about like the war stuff and like the killing, he killed like 123 people or some shit like that. I mean, like him breaking down was also extremely well
Quite
done.
the twist.
Yeah. And then, just the fact that she's fine, Darlene is kind of like, it's okay. Don't have to kill anymore. Don't worry about it.
Great writing choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and because I was thinking Darlene then would be like, well, let me loose, because Darlene was tied up to the chair. I thought at that point she was going to be like, fine, you don't have to kill anyone, but could you cut me loose, right? And I'll do it. But just enough at that point, it's almost like he felt like, all right, I can do some good now, type of thing, right? Like, I've been killing for kind of all these wrong reasons, but then someone that showed empathy or compassion towards me and they are in need, then I can go murk everyone.
It's like what difference does 128 make?
Yeah, exactly. And then when he tries to be nice, right? Then that's when he gets it from, like, yeah. JP, do you have a character you see yourself as, or a favorite?
Oh, probably Felix, Nick Offerman's character, because you think he's gonna play a much bigger role, but he's only good for one shot.
Oh, but it was a buckshot.
Oh boy, yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie though, that was a really good setup. I really liked that whole that single shot of him in the motel. It's a montage, so it's technically not a single shot, but it was nice. It was cool. Yeah, I fucking hate that kid character. I hate like all of them are pretty like okay. I liked most. The only people who I was like, man, I dig this performance was Jeff Bridges and Cynthia. Those are the only two where I was like, man, heck yeah, I fucking love this. And everyone else was like, they're good. But man, I fucking hated that kid. I wanted that. I was hoping for that kid to fall in the fire because I thought, oh, that's symbolic. Like this little demon getting burned alive. That'd be great. That would have happened in a Tarantino movie, but it didn't happen in this one, which is fine. It's okay. I was just hoping for it. I'm sorry.
Which one?
Rosie.
Jeff Bridges shoots her after she stabs Miles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will say though, the Miles thing of the burning, when he was tied up before they got all the other people, and he was like, "Please don't kill me, please don't kill me," and then Rosie's like, "Not sure yet if we're gonna kill you or whatever," and then Rosie kills it. So it's an interesting little like she's like, we might not kill you, or and then she's the one to do it.
Yeah, because he's a
Steve,
real.
you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only people I mean, there's a couple of things I would have loved explored a little bit more in the movie. One, the whole cult situation, because I just felt like it wasn't fully described. Like it just gave you like very little glimpse, and you just assume things.
I mean, I
And and yeah, and then the other thing is the management of this place. I was just like, where are these people? Like, there's only one person doing everything here. Like, they legit they don't show up at all. Like the whole place is burning. They like I thought at the very end, like we were gonna see the management coming in or something.
No, I thought that level of mystery, kind of like me just, being a little bit in here, you never quite see management, but management has their hand involved.
yeah.
But I don't know. I almost
What are you doing right now?
I was gonna grab a drink. My theory was that Miles might have been in the plot to kill Kennedy.
Oh, that's kind of spicy. No, I mean, I have to kind of disagree with the cult thing because, like, when it comes to stories that involve cult behavior, like, it's such a pitfall to, like, just, like, obsess over, like, how crazy is it that these people who are smart and intelligent fall for this cult to the point that, it's something that's been really explored in this culture, like, I mean, even this year, like, one of the most popular sold books is called Cultish, which is focusing on cults. I think it, like, just as long as we were like, okay, this is the situation, she is indoctrinated in the, like, that's all we need.
What I wanted to know was more about, as much as I didn't like Jon Hamm's character, was what was the deal with that? I felt that way regarding how Steve feels about the cult, like, or regarding the agents and stuff. Like, they never called back to figure out like what's going on. Plus, what was he trying to find? We don't really know. We could assume that it might have something to do with maybe they are aware that this hotel does surveillance on very important people, and we could assume is the government because it is a government agency saying like, the operation has been compromised. You gotta get out of there.
But the bugs were not. None of the bugs were theirs.
That's true. I don't know. I wanted to know more about that because it felt so weird to just like drop it.
The,
Like,
the idea could be that management was the FBI and that he was looking and finding mics from other groups of people, right? Maybe, I don't know, but
Maybe
I thought less of the cult better because it can come out as hokey, and same with less of management, right? That's not
it's not important.
that's just side stuff. And basically, John Hams is just setting up a lot of exposition, right?
Keep in mind, guys, this movie has a 2.5 hour running time. If
Yeah.
we got into that cult stuff, this thing easily turns into 3:15.
And like I said, like once you get into like how a cult works, it's something that you can only do so much with it. You can only show crazy teenagers like praising this one guy so many times before you're like, okay.
Yeah. Sign up for an improv class. Michaela, do you have a favorite character? I don't think we got to you yet, or a character that maybe you.
I mean, I can't say that I relate to characters per se on like this individual, but I really, really did enjoy Jeff Bridges' performance in this.
Yeah, him going senile and stuff was quite.
I feel like that could have been so easily like overdone, if that makes sense. Like I feel like it could have easily turned into like him just screaming and yelling and being like, I don't remember but he does it in such a way that's really, you really do end up feeling for this bank robber who can't
remember his own name. Which was crazy because I was afraid it was gonna be hokey as well. But then like yeah, I think it has to do with the whole lighting of the fire. Like you see the light of fire flickering in their eyes, and like they think they're gonna die, and this poor guy legit can't remember his name, and like and Darlene believes him. Is like out of all the crazy shit, is like, no, I believe you. You definitely don't remember your name. Well, that's hard shit to swallow. It's like, fuck you guys. Are you serious?
And it's such a compassionate moment too, where like they're just like she's not bitter or angry at him.
Yeah.
Like the whole time she's just like, it's okay.
It's almost like they both at that moment just accepted, like, we're boned.
It was heartbreaking. No, like the chemistry between those two characters is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I agree with you and JP. That those two performances are just magnetic. I mean, the way they're bouncing off each other, they're the two best performances in the movie by far. And that says a lot because I feel like all the performances were really good. But those two, I mean, they're just head and tails, just better than everybody else, if we're being honest.
Oh yeah.
Well, they really lock it down, right? And again, that's part of the editing, right? Of how they are able to mix all the different storylines, but they keep them in certain points of the story because they are kind of the redeemable
Yes.
characters, or the characters you're kind of rooting for, right? And the likable characters, characters with least amount of flaws. And so it's very interesting how they're pieced together throughout the movie.
Well, you know what though? The movie kind of makes it seem like everybody has a little fucked up secret to hide.
Right.
And the thing is like when you really break it down by the end of the second act, there's really no Miles might be the only one with a secret at all in this whole thing. Everybody else, well, I mean Jeff Bridges too, but everybody else is getting revealed, and you realize it wasn't that bad. I mean, the bank robbery is bad, but it's not that bad. He didn't kill anybody. I mean,
The most revealing stuff was his senile and
The Alzheimer's.
yeah,
Alzheimer's.
which makes you feel for him.
Right.
But then you have like
Secret though, it's a vulnerability. It's
Yeah.
dangerous. Like here's this old man who's trying to hunt down like this ancient treasure and is in this situation where like if you don't actually believe that he has this disease.
Yeah, for sure. And then you see like Rosie's older sister, and you think like she's really a bad guy.
Right.
Like she might be the worst of all of them at first, and then the twist happens, and you're like, oh man, she's really a really good guy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's this movie is just twisty and turny, and I gotta tell you, I never saw where it was going. I had no clue what was going to happen next. No clue how this thing was going to end. So I thought that was pretty cool and refreshing. I mean, I couldn't follow it in the way I do a lot of other storytelling, where like this is the obvious conclusion, but there was no obvious. Like this thing could go anywhere.
Like even just Darlene smashing the bottle over Bridget's head, right? Like that alone I was like, whoa! Like she got one over him. I was I feel like I have Alzheimer's. I want to go into like a favorite. Like let's break it down a little bit more before we get into final thoughts of just like, do you have a favorite shot or a favorite style of shot that was in the movie? So I'll start with this one because it might be easier to explain it. It's as simple as Jon Hamm walking through the rain, and it's when it's from Darlene's point of view, and she's hiding behind the little the brick wall thingy majig, and you just see Jon Hamm walking from the car in the rain, and he kind of looks over, and from lightning and the rain and all that, his glasses just like have a glare and a shine, which is very much kind of like Sin City or animes do that a lot, where like glasses, like you don't see eyeballs or anything, you just see like white, and like just the I don't know how much of that was planned, if that, but which I would imagine it is because it's such a cool shot. But yeah, so do you guys have any moments that like stood out, like a certain shot or sequence, that maybe really stood out and you enjoyed?
Can I go first?
Steve, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say again, bringing her again. What was her name? What was
Darlene?
Darlene? When Darlene takes her weave off, that moment, strong as fuck. Loved it, and the fact that she, from that moment on, she said, "I'm not putting this on." Amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that shot was so well done as well with the cameras because Rosie's sister is just like staring and trying to figure out, is this someone that's also has bad intentions? You know, because and at that point we don't know that Rosie's sister is actually a decent human being, right? And then you just see like in between the beds, Bridges is just kind of going through the wood planks and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty good. Michaela, you were gonna say something, or do you wanna?
Yes, I was, because like this was also going to be my favorite scene too, because like they do such a good job of building the tension in that scene, because like all they have for sound is like no one's like interacting with each other per se, but it's just her and Jeff Bridges, and like the whole time you're just like trying to see it, like she gets the it's such a good scene.
Her singing and then the
The
clapping.
metronome and the clapping.
And you know, white people don't normally get the beat correct, but Jeff Bridges, you know, with Alzheimer's and everything, was getting that beat down.
Yeah, no, it was so scary. Like it was like such a good tense moment. Like that's like what you go for the movies. It's like that kind of moment where you're just like, is he gonna miss the hammer this time? You know, and it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish kind of you had said I would have loved to have seen this at the movie theaters. What about you, JP? Do you have a favorite shot or a sequence
Oh man,
or?
it still has to be the Nick Offerman scene for me because
Oh,
like
that's right.
I was so confused like at first because like it's such a cool shot to begin with, but then like later on in the movie is like, is this gonna be a payoff or something? Like, do they literally just have Nick Offerman as a way to set up like, oh, this hotel, bad shit happens at this hotel? And then you realize no, like that ends up being the plot, like that like our main protagonist trying to get the thing that Nick Offerman left behind all those years ago. It's just such a cool scene because like a part of me was like, how do they film it? Because it does look like you're like it looks like you're
like the camera.
yeah
that
you're
they
you're
have
you're
behind
in,
the thing.
yeah you are the audience and you're watching the theater of this story. So it was very much like, you know, like you're in a theater. I couldn't help but think of like very like off Broadway set, but like a really nice off Broadway set. And like you see the time and the pacing of the work that Nick Offerman has to do in order to hide this thing really well, only to be killed at the end, and so like brutally, like it's so. I'm sure there's a saying, but like that's the worst way to go. Like just well, not the worst way to go. There's much worse ways, but like morality and like just the sense of like the code of man, like being shot or stabbed in the back. That seems such a terrible thing to do. Yeah, it's cold and like you feel that like wow, he did all that work only to like as soon as he let his guard down, he's facing towards us. That's the end of his story.
Bet he got one over them, right? Because
Yeah.
he was able to hide it. And I do agree. I mean, that sets up the movie perfectly, right? Because it has that kind of wide shot of the room, and it's the mystery of like, what? Why is he moving furniture? Why is he rolling up the carpet? And then it's like, oh shit, he's hiding something, right? And even before that, he's playing with the radio to get the music, and it's that kind of style of music, and you can be then like, oh, that's the same type of music that Jeff Bridges liked, right? So maybe there's some connection there if we're really diving deep into it.
And it's so nice because like I didn't even think about that. The music is a continuing thing for him. He'll just say, "Not for me," when you listen to other style of songs.
Well, and it's also to establish what time period it is too. So
Yeah.
you know that like 20 years happened, And like I also want to point out, like the way that they set up that shot is just like how the recording cameras behind the mirrors would have been set up.
Right.
So you're seeing it from the perspective of the mirrors, and once you see that camera, like, but that's also why I think you guys think this is very theatrical, is like the way that the secrets are handled. It's like we know the secrets, but not everyone else does. So it's kind of fun to have like that, like, ooh, when are they going to figure this out? When are, like, that's half the drama of it. And it's just, and they managed to do that as well with the camera work, which is really cool.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of. It was a lot of stationary shots, I feel like, until somewhere around the halfway point and almost more getting into the third act, I feel like. That's when, almost like when shit started to unravel, that's when there started to be more, I feel like, movement with the cameras and stuff like that. All right. Did everyone kind of get a chance to say their favorite kind of shot or scene? Did you?
I did not, but
Yeah.
I will say that my favorite shot. There's a lot of really cool, interesting looks in this thing. But the one that really stuck out to me, and it might have just been because there was a dichotomy with all the other shots, was the when the cult are walking through the field of flowers, and like that it was just beautiful. First off, and it was comedic to see Chris Hemsworth because he's just very funny too, and he's just like kind of switching through these flowers and not really paying everybody else attention, and it's just like it's psychedelic and funny, and so yeah, that one really stuck out to me.
Nice.
And then also this one, I thought JP might like that.
Mind blown. How did you do that? You got 2 arms.
Oh wait! I got one for you guys. Hold on. Oh!
Sorry to anyone that has headphones. All right. On that note, let's get final thoughts. JP, is it still a C plus?
I don't know, man. B minus, why not? Because the weird thing is like there's it happens so many times when we watch like films that closely resemble like other type of films, but it's their own thing. And unfortunately, I can't help but think of like, oh, this reminds me of this film, this reminds me of that film, and the films that they remind me of arguably are better movies. And unfortunately for me, like I don't see myself revisiting this movie. Like it has its great moments, it has its great performances, but as a whole, it's not enough for me to be like, I'll watch it again. It was good, but I'll probably not. I don't see myself revisiting this movie. So B minus.
Okay, that's improvement. Michaela?
I definitely will. But that's because like the guy who wrote this, like I said, like if you watch a lot of like the work that he actually got to direct and write on his own, he puts so much layers in like every single little detail. So it's just like it's one of those things where it's like if you really appreciate what his work is, you have to go in and see if you can catch them all. You know? Because like and I think this is his love letter to Tarantino type movies, so you know, like I think it's a lot of fun and there's a lot to it to like sit back and enjoy.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, this almost feels like the Tarantino subgenre even.
It's becoming that way, right? Of just like that he's become so iconic that even what he was borrowing from other people, this generation now, it's like that's a Tarantino.
I think we would call it like Tarantino noir or something.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. Like, it's a very contemporary, because like you can almost say that this has a very similar tone to almost like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. You know,
that's why I didn't like this one.
You know, like
Reservoir Dogs or Four Rooms also, which Tarantino was he directed one of the rooms, so that was another thing, right? You would get is it placards that in the film, what was the sheet or whatever that says the room number.
Yeah.
Is it the key? Um, I would have that, right? And I mean, you could go back to, I mean, that was done in silent films already before then. But yeah, the movie Four Rooms, which it's Tarantino and it's Rodriguez, and I forget who the other two directors are. But it's a hotel, and every room is filmed by a different director, and they have one actor is the bellboy. Oh shit, who is it? Yeah, and he's the one that connects like all the rooms basically. But anyway, yeah. So a lot of Tarantino esque, if you will. Since we're on right now, do you want to give your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll keep my final thought really short and sweet. I like this thing, and I would recommend it to anyone who brings up they're looking for like a modern day noir or something with a weird twist. Um, yeah, I could recommend this thing, and I do want to see it again. I don't need to see it again right away, but I do feel like this thing is going to make an appearance in my future. I feel like maybe I want to share it with someone. Like, hey, check this thing out, or let's watch this thing. So yeah, it was a good movie. Like I said, I like a movie where I don't really see what's going on or what's happening. Beautiful monologues throughout. I do recommend.
And it's not cheap twists or surprises.
Mm-mm.
I think we need to emphasize that, right? It's not cheaply.
Story twists.
Yeah.
Plot twists.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, got you.
Character twists.
Right. Steve, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Just like Jason, I'll keep it short, simple. Great movie. Definitely will revisit it again. Not right away. Can give it some time to breathe. Even if you made it to this point and watched this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button because it helps us. This movie, even if you watched it to this point, I know there was a lot of spoilers here. I know we talked a lot about the movie, but even if you haven't watched the movie and you watch the movie after watching this review, you'll still be very surprised with the tone, everything, the acting of the movie, all these things. Um, great film, man. It's one of those films that is like, wow, I can't believe they wrote like characters pretty strong, and they actually had like really good people interpret these characters. I still stand with my what I said earlier. I don't think Chris Hemsworth did the best performance, but I get he was one of the reasons they got to sell this movie because this was at the height of him becoming the Thor and all that stuff. So yeah, great movie. Definitely would recommend it to people that like twists and turns and clue like movies and saw like movies and stuff like that.
Nice. Cool. To start my final thoughts, I'd like to point out there was no Dino sidebar tonight. So
Yeah, we're almost
that's
under an
my
hour.
sidebar. No Dino sidebar. Then again, I was hosting it. But
Spoiler alert, the
I
review
really
was
enjoyed this
the
movie.
sidebar.
What?
It's a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
The review was the sidebar.
Anyway, I really enjoyed the movie. I do want to point out again, just the setting itself, just like the hotel, like the scenery, just like the build of it. I mean, you guys can see the background of JP and Michaela. Like that alone is just like whoever came up with that, like they earned their money, right? Like that, I just felt like it was so beautifully kind of designed, and that kind of goes for the whole movie itself. It's one that I will rewatch at some point, and this is a new take, not necessarily rewatch, but if for whatever reason it's one of those, I know it doesn't happen much anymore, but like flipping channels or whatever, and it's on, it might be one of those that I like. Oh, I'll just keep it on here. Like I wanna see that one interaction, or I want to see that one shot of the hotel. It's one of those like flipping channels. If I land on it and I don't know what else to watch, like I might just watch it for a little bit. So
By the way, Dino, I just want to point out you might be the only person paying for cable, but that's just.
oh, I'm not paying for cable. That's why I'm just saying, like, if I'm in that situation, like if I go down to my parents or whatever and they have cable and
Or
I flip through
perhaps you're
channels.
staying at a rundown hotel.
What?
Or perhaps when you're staying at a rundown hotel.
Yeah. Next time I'm in a Motel 6 Royale, I'll see what.
Also, real quick. Is this hotel real?
I don't know. I don't want to say. Maybe we should do a road trip.
Are you going to tell us at the road trip? During the road trip?
Yeah. I know there's certain cities like Tennessee or whatever, and that border, there are certain ones where the borderline is, right there and then. I don't know how they do it in Nevada. I would imagine it's not.
Kansas
Not
City, Missouri? What?
But I do feel like I've seen some hotels like this before.
There's a El Royale Hotel in Studio City. So, oh, there's also one in Nevada.
Oh yeah. I wonder if they built it there and now it's just it's like a tourist trap. Nice. I like it. Let's go. Oh, that pool looks nice. All right, so yeah, so that's kind of my final thoughts. Everyone got to share their final thoughts?
Yes. Did you?
Okay. Hey, Jason, you got anything else?
Yeah, I do have one extra thing I like to bring up. Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Next week, I mean, again, I don't know why you asked me if the person that's going next has already her hands up. So, Michaela, delight us.
We are going to be watching The Last Unicorn. The connection is Jeff Bridges played the prince in this animated feature film. And also, I think one of the sound guys was part of it as well. So,
Okay.
Okay.
What do you know what year it is off the top of your head?
I think it's like 81.
Okay.
It's a Rankin and Bass movie, so
It's a who to the what?
Rankin and Bass.
Oh, you're just reading what's there.
No.
For a second, I was like, oh, did Lord do the music for it? But it's Lord Great, but it kind of got mixed in my...
82.
82?
82. Now streaming on Amazon and Tubi.
All right, so like, subscribe. Yeah, and comment below if you have a favorite character scene or if we spoiled the movie for you and we should say spoilers ahead of time or put it in the title and we'll try to maybe do it a year from now because our reviews are like really way behind. So let us know.
So for Jason, Echoes, El Dondino, Michaela and JP, and me, Steve Des TV, we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey, I'm Jason Echoes, and thank you for watching the Dimelo Network. There's some videos here. Watch one of them, and then you can subscribe to the network, and you can see more good stuff.